Let's talk about hunger for a second. In our tests, most people, like you and me, we get hungry, we eat. And then we get to a certain point. Maybe we've just pigged out on like half a pizza, or okay, maybe more than half a pizza, and someone offers you another slice, and you're like, whoa, I can't even think about eating anything else. That feeling that we all have. When you're full, when you know you've had enough. Well, what if you could never actually get that feeling? What if you didn't know you were full? What if every waking moment you just wanted to keep on eating? That's our Tess. That's what she's like, and I don't mean sometimes. I'm talking every day. She has this condition. It's called hyperphagia. It's part of her disease. For the moment, it's manageable. We run the kitchen. When lunch is over, we shut it down, give her cues that we're moving on to other things, and that's it. But dude, hyperphagia can get much tougher as Tess grows, and actually kind of dangerous. Like, what happens when Tess gets bigger? Like when she gets into the kitchen on her own and she's tall and wants to raid the fridge or the cupboards. Other parents, they have to put padlocks on stuff. Literally lock everything up. We can predict what Tess will do based on these stories from these other parents. For example, is it enough to install these locks? No, actually it isn't. The trash is a potential target. Is there edible stuff in there? Stale chips? Expired yogurt? Usually, yep, that stuff can be found. So in the years to come, we're gonna need to take out the trash every single night before we hit the hay. There's this other thing you need to know about Tess. It's not just a food thing. She eats everything. Food, but other stuff too. Things that aren't food. If you're on the beach with her, you can't let her hands be free. Otherwise she'll scoop up a handful of sand and shove it in her mouth. I'm serious. If you leave mail lying around, letters, catalogs, whatever, she'll eat it, chew it up, take bites out of it, and consume it. This isn't hyperphagia. It's another whole thing with another name. It's called pica. It's about eating things that don't have any nutritional value, things like dirt and paper. No two kids with USP7 disease have the same symptoms. And with Tess's brand of USP7, we have an unfortunate combination: pica and intellectual disability. It means she doesn't sense danger. So if she decides to stop eating paper and instead wants to eat Legos or other windpipe-sized items, we got a problem. In other words, our house is full of tiny stuff that could make her choke to death. One huge part of keeping her safe is her bed. Zips shut from the outside, metal frame, fits securely over a twin mattress. Takes about 8 minutes to assemble. The current record is a little over 7 minutes. A fortress of mesh that's locked her in, protecting her from herself almost every single night for the past 2.5 years. I never thought I'd need to do this with my 8-year-old, but then again, I never dreamed I'd have a kid who, at that point in her development, was most receptive not to her name or to certain pop or Disney songs, but to me making noises like a washing machine, like wum 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 wum. So if Tess is locked securely in there, and we never leave her alone, why is pica an issue? How can she possibly get into trouble? Well, I got some stories for you. How about the time before she had this bed? When we were on a trip, we tried to put her to sleep inside one of those cubey sort of tents, this thing called Privacy Pop. We came up to check on her, and not only was she out of her bed, but she'd found a full bottle of Tums. By the time we got to her, about half the tablets were gone, and she had this purpley, massive beard of Tums. Or how about when her brother left his finished homework on the table in our mudroom? It was time for him to get out, catch the bus, and he couldn't find his homework. And then we found it. Well, what was left of it. That's when you go into school and your teacher asks what the deal is, where your homework is, and you have to say, my sister ate it, chewed it up and swallowed it, for real. So what is this pica? Does Tess chomp down a half cup of sand from the beach and say, that sure was tasty? Or does she eat mud and lick her chops and ask for more? Not exactly. After all, these things taste terrible. I mean, really awful. And she has taste buds. So as she's choking down the sand and you're frantically trying to knock the rest of the sand out of her hand before she can eat it, and sweeping her mouth with your hooked finger, trying to keep her from chewing on what's already in there, she's making this face, this like, ew kind of face. But that doesn't stop her from continuing to try to eat the sand. She doesn't learn, in other words. She doesn't say, well, that tasted awful, I sure won't eat that again. She keeps right on going. She's driven to do it. She can't help herself. It's really trying when you're at the beach or receiving mail that's been taste tested. It's difficult when it's been a while since she got her hair cut because, you guessed it, she eats her own hair. If we let it get too long, she'll pull it out and eat it. People who study pica sometimes associate it with mineral deficiencies. You see it in pregnant women occasionally. It can be associated with anemia, like your body senses that it doesn't have enough iron, and so you have this irrational need to consume dirt. Pica is also connected to obsessive compulsive disorder. And I don't know what to make of any of this. It's just how Tess has always been. Treatments seem to be largely about figuring out why the person's eating all this non-food stuff, and then addressing what that's about. Are they trying to get attention? Are they attempting to escape a certain situation? Let's deal with that. For Tess, though, our only method of addressing her pica has been to give her some alternative oral stimulation, getting various vibrating toothbrushes or nubbly rubber chew toys, and get those things to take the place of all these dangerous things that she likes to eat. These work for a while, but she invariably gets tired of the substitute items. And she chucks those on the floor, and she's right back to eating our mail. We need a lot of help with both of these problems in our girl. I don't talk about it a lot. It's not an easy thing to explain to strangers. I can't tell you how many times I'm out in public or in a store somewhere and somebody offers me something. Would she want a sticker? They always ask. And I usually just smile and say, no thanks. But what I really want to tell them is, nope, she'd only eat it. And in terms of her eating, her hyperphagia, her not having an off switch, it puts other people in a tough situation. After all, we know how much she should eat, what the right amount is, but other people have no idea. Unless we make all her meals ahead of time, they'll never know. So what do? We make all her meals ahead of time. In 2018, we're going to have Tess be part of a phenotyping study at Baylor in Texas. The plan is to get a ton of info about all the kids with USP7 mutations and collect that data to define the disease better. I know we're not the only ones dealing with these two issues, but how prevalent are they in our group? We don't know. If you're out there and you're dealing with pica or hyperphagia or both, I'd love to hear what you're doing about it, what you can do other than scrub your entire living space of all food and all loose items that can technically be placed in the mouth and swallowed. These are conditions that Tess has always had, and she's not showing any signs of getting rid of either of them.